Have you ever seen a new seasonal anime get mentioned online that seems interesting, so you pick it up only to find out that it's absolute shit? I know I have, and because I don't want you to make the same mistakes as me, I watched the first couple episodes of most anime this season and placed them in 3 categories: watch it, consider it, or drop it. If you want to skip to a specific anime, then check the description or comments for timestamps. Let's get right into it. Rather than living out in the savannas of Africa, animals now live normal lives in Japan. They do everything you would expect them to do: eat with their families, go to work, attend mixers with college girls, and get accused of groping people on the train. This is without a doubt a weird comedy, but one that did get me to laugh at the absurdity of what was going on, and one that could potentially use its animal kingdom and food chain aspects for clever situations and fun jokes. They also locked in some top-tier voice acting talent, with the main trio done by Ogura, Zenitsu, and Ryder. I do worry that the gags will get tiresome, and I'm definitely not a fan of the clunky CG animation, but for now, especially if you're an office worker yourself, consider it. After School Dice Club is an anime that simply follows a few girls playing board games together and bonding over their enjoyment of it. It's a very relaxing and wholesome show, there's no doubt about that, and the art and animation are definitely better than I expected them to be. However, I found myself more annoyed than anything else while watching this, mostly because of the main character, Miki. Everyone is pretty stereotypical, which is par for the course for a show like this, but Miki in particular is just so bland that I can't help but roll my eyes every time she starts feeling sorry for herself or crying for whatever reason. I half expected her to have a panic attack for rolling a bad value during one of the games or something. If you like board games, want a laid-back show, and don't mind Miki's personality, then consider it, but personally, drop it. I've never really been one for sports anime, and the first 2/3 of this episode didn't do anything to change that for me. But the last 1/3 really got me engaged as we watched Sora challenge the delinquents of the basketball club to a 5-on-1 game, in which he promptly overwhelms them and displays his skill and passion for the game despite his short stature. I can't say I'm sold on the characters as of now, but I think there's some potential, and from what I've seen online, the manga is supposed to be pretty good. If you like sports, then this could be right up your alley. Consider it. It's pretty rare for me to want to drop a show before I even finish the first episode, but that's exactly what happened here. Ascendance of a Bookworm follows a woman obsessed with reading who gets isekai'd into a child's body in a world in which books are hard to find. Not a bad concept, but I didn't like the main character, and I felt like the episode didn't do a good job of establishing the world or its characters. I also thought that the art was a bit on the ugly side, which didn't help. Absolutely nothing interesting happened in the entire first episode, and I was bored out of my mind while I was watching it. Maybe it's just not my kind of show, but I think you should drop it. Just what? What the hell kind of question is that? You just walked in a room with him and 20 assassins, the dude has his throat slit and is just slumped over the desk. What do you expect him to say? Oh, chip chip cheerio lad, just dandy, thanks for asking. Oh my god. The premise here is that the main character is assigned to tutor the daughter of a noble, but if he discovers that she can't use mana, he has to assassinate her. But then in the first episode, she can actually use mana after all, so the entire premise is gone. But then he still might have to kill her anyways because politics? Okay. The main guy is literally a Kirito clone but with more edge and Ara vibes, and the main girl is like a less interesting loli Asuna. Now, both of those I can tolerate because I like sword art, but the main girl's rival is like a cross between mine's bitchiness and Bakugo's insufferable attitude. If I had to take a shot for every time that she made me want to stop watching, I would have died 15 ago. A shame, because the animation actually has some really good moments, and there are some interesting ideas and character dynamics that could definitely play out in this. But the characters aren't doing anything for me, and the plot just hasn't sold itself as something worthwhile. Drop it. I have absolutely no idea what is going on in Azur Lane beyond it being an adaptation of a mobile game. What I've gathered from the first few episodes is basically, one day, humanity was attacked by aliens, but humanity somehow figured out how to develop boats that can turn into anime girls to fight back against the aliens. But then there was a civil war between the anime girl boats, and now they're fighting against each other and the aliens at the same time. I think this would probably be a lot of fun to watch for people who are already fans of the game, but as it is, they're throwing so many names at me that I can't feasibly remember any of them beyond Enterprise because she's badass and shows up all the time. The fights and the character designs are pretty good, I'll give it that, but I think that the only real reasons to watch this are for the waifus or if you already play the game. Consider it. I hope that you like detective thrillers because there are a lot of them this season, and in my opinion, Babylon is the best of the bunch. Tasked with investigating a pharmaceutical company paying off its drug testers, Seizaki quickly realizes that he's in over his head when he uncovers a web of political manipulation, mysterious deaths, and all other sorts of illicit activity. The dark tone is established early on, and the director does a fantastic job of keeping you on the edge of your seat, all the while creating a strong sense of tension and unease, like you never know what twist is coming next or when it will happen. The story started off strong, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here. Watch it. Beastars takes place in a world filled with anthropomorphic animals, where herbivores and carnivores peacefully coexist and eating meat is outlawed. However, in the opening minutes, Cherryton Academy is shaken when a carnivore attacks, kills, and eats an herbivore overnight, which is considered to be the ultimate taboo. The main character, Lugosi, is a kind wolf who is also a member of the drama club. I didn't know what to expect going into Beastars aside from all of the lazy, "her der furries, me so original" jokes that I saw online, but I was really impressed with the first couple episodes. The characters, despite being animals, feel engaging and realistic, and the direction is strong from the get-go, doing a great job of establishing the cast, world, and tension among the student body. The animation is entirely CG, but fear not, it's done by Studio Orange, who also did Land of the Lustrous, and their skill with CG is obvious, feeling smooth, immersive, and never distracting. Also, the OP is one of the best of the year. If you can keep an open mind about the cast, Beastars is definitely worth checking out. Watch it. Blade of the Immortal is a dark journey following Manji and Rin. Rin seeks revenge on the clan who killed her parents, and Manji is an immortal swordsman she hires to help her exact that revenge. It's an adaptation that people are initially concerned about because it will cover over 200 chapters in only 24 episodes, which means it could be either really rushed or cut a lot of content. However, even though it does feel like it's jumping around a bit and relatively rushed, I think the directing has had some great moments, particularly the opening to the first episode and a fight midway through the second. Only time will tell how this adaptation ends up going, but if you enjoyed Dororo earlier this year or like anime with an older style in general, this could be for you. Consider it. Case File 221 is an original spin on the classic Sherlock Holmes characters done by Production IG, and so far it's off to an enjoyable start. Anybody who appreciates detective shows and mystery is bound to find something to like with this, though when you compare it to other detective shows this season like Babylon and Psycho Pass, we can see that there's a clear tonal difference. The former are darker and more intense, while Sherlock incorporates many more over-the-top characters and some comedy, including Sherlock revealing the killer of the first case in a Rakugo performance. While I find the other detective shows this season to be stronger, Sherlock has still been decent, so I would consider it. Are you missing the over-the-top fantasy isekai shenanigans of Konosuba? Then look no further than Cautious Hero, because there are a lot of similarities in the tone and humor between the two. As the title would imply, the main character is OP as hell, but also incredibly cautious and nervous about getting into fights, much to the annoyance of his party. And the goddess who summoned him is like if you mixed Aqua's voice acting, reactions, and uselessness with Darkness's perverted nature, which I think has been a hilarious combination. Obviously different people like different humor, but I found Cautious Hero to have numerous laugh-out-loud moments in each episode so far, and I love how it gives me the Konosuba vibes that I've been missing for so long. Watch it. If you're looking for a cute girls doing cute things anime, then you've come to the right place. Chidori Rifle Shooting Club had one of the most wholesome debuts of the season. Each of the girls are likable, their chemistry was good, and the setup for some activity in their club makes me think that there will be fun stuff moving forwards beyond the plain old school life comedy, like some tournaments and rivals. It's not the most interesting anime of the season, but it does what it does well. Consider it. Ever since I first watched Gabriel Dropout a couple years ago, I have constantly been searching for similar anime to scratch that itch. Yuru Camp came close, and Comic Girls and Blend S were both enjoyable, but none of them were ever as good in my opinion. But much to my surprise, Didn't I Say to Make My Abilities Average in the Next Life has been way better than I expected, boasting a similar animation style, really fun characters, and multiple moments in each episode that made me laugh. It's very meta and self-aware, with the main character even joking about how she got sent to this world after being hit by an isekai truck, and mentioning how certain events and lines are right out of manga. Of course, only time will tell how this turns out, but as of now, this has been a really pleasant surprise of the fall 2019 season. Watch it. Welcome to the obligatory Fate anime of the season. Now, calm down. I know you're moaning about watch order and how this fits into the timeline and all that, but luckily this one is easy. It's adapting Chapter 7 of the mobile game, so we're just totally skipping Chapters 1 to 6. All you need to watch before this is a 75-minute long movie and the prologue episode. Easy! But I'm telling you, it's worth it. Look, hear me out on this. The subtitle is deceptive. A more accurate title would be Absolute Demonic Front Bootylonia, because holy shit, there is a lot of booty in this. But seriously though, Babylonia has been great so far. It's clear how much effort Cloverworks is putting into adapting this story, with some absolutely incredible backdrops throughout the episode and visually orgasmic animation during action sequences. Anybody who likes Fate is bound to enjoy this. Not only is the production insane like you would expect out of a Ufotable take on Fate, but we're dropped into Mesopotamia and have a whole new cast of servants to meet. It's hard to say whether this will surpass Ufotable's Fate anime, but as of now, it certainly has the potential to at least meet them. Watch it. A long-running series that's now in its fourth and final season, I think you know whether you like Food Wars or not by now. For fans of the show like me, it's a must-watch, picking up right where Season 3 left off and giving us more of the great character moments, insane cooking battles, entertaining comedy, and of course, explosive foodgasms. For those who can't tolerate the moving slideshow animation, which is admittedly disappointing, or the fan service from the foodgasms, this season isn't going to change anything. I have heard that the final arc of the manga shit the bed, but I read the epilogue and liked it, and Food Wars is one of my favorite shows in general. I love this cast, and the show as a whole has never failed to entertain me, so I'm looking forward to one last ride with everyone at Tatsuki, no matter how bumpy that road may end up getting. Watch it if you're a big fan like me, but otherwise, consider it. This was one of the shows that I expected to be complete trash when I started making this video. The first episode starts off by revealing that the 7 main characters are high school prodigies, but not just like really smart or really good at something like you would expect, but like one of them is literally the Prime Minister of Japan, one of them controls 30% of the world's economy, one of them is a samurai, one built a spaceship. You get the point. They get isekai'd to a relatively primitive world, which I hope has cute elf girls and... What? After being left speechless by that scene, I actually ended up enjoying the rest of the episode quite a bit. It was relatively light, the characters were decent. It's kind of like a discount Dr. Stone, but with the bonus of not having Taiju screaming about everything. The OP makes it seem like there will be some classic isekai drama and kidnappings of the elf girls and whatnot, which is a bummer, but if the notes from the first episode continue to make themselves heard throughout the season, then consider it. Kandagawa Jet Girls is basically Mario Kart Double Dash with Yuri bait and fan service galore, but it's actually not completely terrible. I really didn't expect much from this at all, but it was more entertaining than I thought. The production values are definitely not going to be taking home any awards, but the races themselves are fun, and I expect that as bigger competitions with more racers occur, it will get even more engaging. But in what's a pretty strong season overall, this is towards the back of the pack. If you want something that you can just turn your brain off during and don't mind the constant fan service, then you could consider it, but otherwise, drop it. In Kemono, Michi, an animal-loving wrestler is summoned to another world by the princess and asked to defeat demon animals. Infuriated about being asked to do that, he suplexes the princess in front of everyone and decides to instead create a world where beasts and humans can live in peace. This is probably the most bizarre anime of the fall, and one whose comedy walked a fine line between making me laugh out loud and making me pretty uncomfortable. The characters early on seem entertaining, and it's from the same author as Konosuba, so I feel like we can stay cautiously optimistic. Despite the weird humor, it has its moments, so you could consider it. The first season never really gained much steam when it aired earlier this year thanks to all the melodrama pervading the first half, which is too bad because the second half was pretty good, with solid character development and drama that gets resolved fairly quickly rather than dragging on. The second season has continued that trend but now added in a bit more emphasis on the romance between the members of the club, which I think has been very gratifying to see since it was teased so much in the first season. The music has also continued to be strong, and I end up looking forwards to every performance that the Kodo Club puts on. I think this is worth watching, especially if you like music dramas, but I understand why the stiff animation and melodrama, even if it gets resolved fairly quickly, may turn people off of it. Consider it. I mean, is there really anything left to say about My Hero Academia? Like Food Wars, I think everyone knows whether they like it or not by now. Personally, it's one of my favorite anime, and though I thought the second half of Season 3 was a bit lackluster, I've only heard great things about the overhaul arc which Season 4 will adapt, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Watch it. A while back, when I was truly in a pit of despair about not having No Game No Life Season 2, I wrote an angry letter to Madhouse threatening to lewd Komi-san if they didn't greenlight Season 2 immediately. Unfortunately, my Japanese is complete shit, so while they did accept my demand, we ended up with No Guns Life instead.
I only had to do one thing and I failed. I failed!
I really thought I made a mistake when the opening scene reveals that the main character is literally a guy with a gun for a head, and then the OP throws in some random fan service, but the episode overall was actually pretty good. It has a kind of gritty noir feel, the world seems to have a solid foundation established so far, and the characters feel relatively interesting right off the bat. It may not be No Game No Life, but I think this one could turn out to be pretty fun. Consider it. If I'm being honest, I had very low expectations going into ORESUKI. The premise, a guy who has the two girls he likes confess they like his best friend, and then has a girl he hates confess to him, was definitely not one that was grabbing me. The key art looked kind of subpar, and the main girl looked like she's ripped right out of the numbers that shall not be named, which made my heart hurt. But man, am I glad I gave this a shot, because the first episode is probably the hardest that I've laughed at a single episode of anime all year, and the next two didn't disappoint either. Behind what's initially presented as a stereotypical harem rom-com with generic character tropes, is actually hilarious dialogue and use of English, scumbag characters hiding their true colors, surprisingly decent animation, fun references, and a show that just doesn't take itself too seriously. Watch it. Mizuki's dream of leading a normal life with normal friends is shattered when she transfers to a new school and meets the Hero Club, which is full of chunies. The whole episode was filled with classic chunie antics, including a guy obsessed with Power Rangers, one who loves 2D girls, and one who believes he was a demon-angel hybrid in his past life. But of course, despite their antics, they're good guys deep down. Though it's not my favorite character type, the cast works well together and there were a few scenes that made me laugh, generally with the demon guy being dramatic. If you like the chunie character archetype, then you may enjoy this and could consider it, but for anyone else, it may just be too out there. Drop it. An anime adaptation of the first 3 chapters of the MMORPG of the same name, it's pretty obvious that this is a video game adaptation, while with the first episode featuring random encounters, plot twists, and a nod at character creation. Though I have no experience with the game, I really enjoyed the first episode. It's established that this is a world with consequence, and also one with some mysterious elements at play, ones that I'm eager to learn more about. Though the production wasn't the most impressive and some of the characters came off as cliché, this was a solid start and I think there's some potential here. If you like sci-fi, action, or JRPGs, then consider it. After a relatively disappointing Season 2 and airing delay, I was kinda skeptical going into Psycho Pass 3, but I'm happy to say that the first episode was actually pretty good. This season brings in an entirely new cast of inspectors and enforcers, though there were numerous cameos of characters from the previous seasons in the first episode, and I want to see how they play into the story. The tone is still dark and gritty, though it seems like it may take more of a mystery detective thriller approach as opposed to the more action-heavy seasons preceding it. While I'm not sold on the main character's mental trace ability, which basically allows him to see the past for some reason, I think there's a good foundation here and I'm excited to see where it goes. Watch it. Radiant was another anime that I felt had its first season fly under the radar a bit, though with the amount of filler in it, I kinda get it. That being said, the whole second half of the season in Rumbletown was really good and built up to an impressive and emotional conclusion, and from what I've seen online from the manga readers, the arc in the second season is supposed to be even better and shouldn't rely on filler to pad it out. I still feel like the world building and overall concept is really good, and the cast is full of likable characters. The second season is off to a good start, as the new continent of Castlin Merlin is filled with new possibilities, Okaho seems like she'll be a great addition to the cast, and the return of big players from the first season like Melly, Doc, Grimm, and Dragonov is bound to make things interesting. I'd recommend checking out the first season if you haven't already, because I really do think that the season has the potential to be great. Consider it. The last of the cop and detective anime this season, Special 7 provides more action than the others but also seems to have the lowest production quality, with a lot of bland and dark colors. Compared to Sherlock's bright visuals and Babylon and Psycho Pass's high production value, it's pretty noticeable, but that doesn't mean that the show itself is bad. In fact, I think the idea of a special investigation group in a fantasy world where each member has their own quirk of sorts working together is a good one, and since this is an original show, we'll be along for a wholly new ride. I'm not exactly sold on any of the characters yet, but it has some fun ideas, so consider it. Right off the bat, I was impressed with the art and animation in Stars Align. Everything has a clean look to it, from the background art to the character designs. The characters outside of the two main boys seemed pretty bland to me, but even so, those two in the art were enough. But then some dark stuff starts seeping through the cracks. Maki's dad shows up and beats him up and steals money, and Toma's mother seems genuinely terrified of him for some reason. For a show that initially presented itself with a light tone and seemed like it would be just another high school sports drama, these came completely out of left field. It's an original, so we don't know how it will play out yet, but I personally didn't enjoy the sudden dark elements. But if that type of on and off the court drama is your thing, then consider it. Get ready for this one, gang. A guy who has resigned himself to being feared and alone suddenly has 9 girls move in with him and finds out they're Valkyrie. The only way for them to get stronger is for him to get more intimate with them. That's right, they power up by being kissed, touched, or even by holding hands. Talk about degenerates. Conveniently, the world is being attacked by demons, so they need to power up as much as possible, as fast as possible. You know where this is going. Unless you're a masochist or you like shitty ecchi anime, you should probably drop it. Welcome to Demon School is a straight comedy featuring Iruma, who is sold by his scumbag parents to a demon for some quick cash. But in his new life, he's the grandson of a powerful demon, attends demon school, makes friends, gets into duels, and tries to act like he's not a human so that he doesn't get eaten. You can tell that the intended audience is on the younger side, but the humor has its moments, and the cast, from what we've seen so far at least, is likable. There are better comedies out this season, but if an easygoing fantasy comedy is up your alley, then consider it. By far one of my favorite anime of 2019 so far, I was ecstatic when We Never Learn got a second season not just announced, but airing in the same year no less. Harem rom-coms are far from original, and the quintessential quintuplets, which is another student and tutor harem, does a better job from a story and character development perspective, but We Never Learn excels thanks to its incredibly fun characters, spot-on voice acting, and consistent comedy. Every episode manages to make me laugh, and the cast is easily one of my favorites in recent memory, with everyone playing off of each other in a way that just feels natural. I do wish that we got a bit more progress in the story and romance departments, but it's just so damn fun to watch, and it's one of the episodes that I look forward to the most each week. This is an easy watch it. And that wraps up all of the 31 Fall 2019 seasonals that I checked out. I hope you were able to find something that you found interesting. Be sure to let me know in the comments or on Twitter at JDefenseAnime what you think of the fall season so far. If you liked this video and want more like it, feel free to subscribe or follow me on Twitter for random anime and manga takes, memes, and info on upcoming videos. And as always, thanks for checking out my video, and until next time.